Bitcoin outstanding at roughly 19.5, 19.6 million Bitcoin. And 15 million of those are in the hands of what we call strong hands. They're not weak hands, they're strong hands. They haven't moved their Bitcoin in roughly half a year. And we can monitor this. So 15 out of the 19 and a half. And the number of Bitcoin ever that will be created is 21 million units. Again, I think you're going to start to see scarcity value playing a big role here.
Get comfortable as we're going to explore some amazing advancements in the cryptocurrency space. With the launch of Bitcoin ETFs, the United States is about to experience a dramatic change in its financial environment. What does this mean for us now? It looks to be a game changer for institutional investors as well as regular retail investors, providing a more regulated and easier way to enter the constantly changing Bitcoin market. Analysts in the industry have been crazy with excitement, speculating that the approval of these ETFs may send waves of institutional money into Bitcoin. Just think about the effect. The value of Bitcoin could rise to previously unheard of heights as a result of this inflow, perhaps breaking previous records. This action could solidify Bitcoin's position as a respectable and legitimate asset class in the financial environment. It's not just about the numbers. Thursday, January 11th, on your calendars, as that's when the ETFs will make their highly anticipated debut on the main stock exchanges. There is a lot of excitement in the air, and there may be a big change in the dynamics of the market as well as an impact on investor sentiment. Now, let's talk excitement. Cathie Wood, the dynamic CEO of ARK Invest, is among those who received the ETF approval, and she's not holding back on her enthusiasm. In fact, she views this as a monumental starting point that transcends Bitcoin's current status. Cathie is bullish, and her optimism is infectious. She firmly believes that we're witnessing the dawn of something far greater than Bitcoin itself. But that's not all. She's optimistic about the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, continuing to be cooperative and supportive. Cathie's insights carry weight, and her forward-looking perspective underscores the transformative potential of this development. We're on the cusp of witnessing a historic moment in financial history. As the ETFs prepare for their debut, the world watches with bated breath, and influencers like Cathie Wood pave the way for what could be a new era for Bitcoin and beyond. And now, let's get back to what Cathie Wood about to say.
The price has moved up. It's been an anticipatory move, I think. Many people have been saying there's going to be a sell on the news. This is up too far, too fast. And that very well could be, but I don't think it's going to last very long, because this is the SEC's green light, and there have been institutions waiting on the sidelines. They were not going to move until the SEC blessed this. And we've had a lot of our clients and the gatekeepers were not going to allow Bitcoin, even what we did own, GBTC, they would not allow in portfolios until the SEC blessed it. So I do think this is a big moment, and I do think that the flows are going to help us demonstrate that there's real scarcity value here, because you've got Bitcoin outstanding at roughly 19.5, 19.6 million Bitcoin. And 15 million of those are in the hands of what we call strong hands. They're not weak hands, they're strong hands. They haven't moved their Bitcoin in roughly half a year, and we can monitor this. So 15 out of the 19 and a half, and the number of Bitcoin ever that will be created is 21 million units. Again, I think you're going to start to see scarcity value playing a big role here. A lot of retail holders did not want to go through the friction-filled process, or they were discouraged from it, to get a wallet and figure out custody and all of that. This is going to simplify all of that. It's easy access. And I think a lot of people are waiting for easy access. The early adopters are there, no question about it. And yet we believe this is an asset class that will scale to billions of users. I think in the United States, there are 50 million. I don't know, I think the estimates for around the world, 100, 200 million. We think this is an asset It is the financial superhighway that the internet finally is accommodating. When developers built out the internet in the early 90s, they did not put in this layer because no one ever thought that financial services or commerce would take place on the internet. It was just a place to exchange information. And even in the 80s, it was illegal for consumers to use the internet. So we were coming from there. And now, of course, we do all kinds of things on the internet. This is going to simplify, take out a lot of middlemen that are there really to control risk, but also they take a toll. This is much more of a peer-to-peer network. So we think there are going to ultimately be billions of users on this network.
The current decision by the SEC is revolutionary and reflects a dramatic change in the way that the government views Bitcoin. This action implies that traditional finance is beginning to acknowledge and accept Bitcoin more and more. Beyond its immediate effects, the clearance is anticipated to open the way for other investment products tied to Bitcoin in the future, which might provide investors with a wider choice of financial instruments. For investors, what does this mean? In fact, it might pave the way for a wider variety of financial products based on Bitcoin. Market players are on the edge of their seats, expecting the start of a new era in the investment environment as the SEC wraps up preparations for the listing of the first spot Bitcoin ETFs. Cathie Wood shares her insights on the matter. She hints at how the ETF approval is poised to influence investors and shape their strategies in the evolving financial landscape. The spotlight is now on Cathie Wood as we eagerly await her thoughts on this transformative development. Beyond small legal details, the SEC's ruling represents a wider recognition of Bitcoin as a respectable asset class. The excitement that surrounds the spot Bitcoin ETF launch points to a developing trend: the inclusion of Bitcoin in traditional investing portfolios. Cathie Wood's perspective promises to offer helpful insights into the possible repercussions and possibilities that lie ahead as we navigate this changing terrain. Listen in as Cathie Wood discusses how this significant choice may change the investing environment going forward.
One of the most important proof points for Bitcoin happened in 2023, whereas before most investors thought it was a risk-on asset. It would do well in strong markets. They never thought it would do well in crisis-prone markets. And of course, in 2022, there was all kinds of crisis, and it didn't do well. But what happened during the regional bank meltdown in March of last year? The regional bank index, the KRE, was imploding. Silicon Valley Bank, Signature, Republic, other banks went bankrupt. Bitcoin went up almost, I think it went up 40%, right in the middle. What did that tell us? It tells us we have not only a risk-on asset here, but we also have a risk-off asset. And that spoke volumes to us. In fact, we got converts. Now, leaders of financial institutions call it a flight to quality. We would say a flight to safety. And why do we say that? There's no counterparty risk, unlike in the banking system. You know, the counterparty risk is what caused the 08-09 financial meltdown. Fear of counterparty risk, once again, caused the regional bank crisis. With this fully decentralized, transparent network, there isn't counterparty risk. So we are now saying Bitcoin is not only a hedge against inflation, given its scarcity value, but it is a hedge against deflation, given the lack of counterparty risk. The value of Bitcoin, the first global, digital, decentralized, rules-based monetary system in history, that is a very big idea. When we did our research, our first white paper in 2015, could Bitcoin serve the three roles of money? We invited Art Laffer to collaborate with us. He is a famous economist. You probably know him for the Laffer curve. He's also a monetary scholar. His mentor was Robert Mundell, who won a Nobel Prize for monetary theory. And when he finally figured out what this Bitcoin was, he said to me, you know, I've been waiting for this since they closed the gold window in 1971. a rules-based monetary system. Monetary policy is unhinged right now. This is a rules-based monetary system. I said, wow, that sounds like a very big idea. Remember, this is 2015 when Bitcoin is $250. How big of an idea is this, Art? Well, how big is the monetary base? At that time, it was $4.5 trillion. Now it's $7.7 trillion. This is a very big idea. Right now, Bitcoin's market cap or network value is a little over 800 billion. We think it has miles to go. The scarcity value of institutions pushing in, now that there really only are going to be 1.5 more million Bitcoin minted ever, is going to be quite provocative.
Wow, Cathie Wood had such a wise conversation. Upon closer inspection of her comments, it is clear that Bitcoin's place in the financial system has changed dramatically. Bitcoin is no longer only seen as a risky investment, it has shown to be resilient and adaptable, especially in volatile markets. The events of 2023 and the insights from the collapse of the regional bank explain Bitcoin's dual character as an asset that is both risk-on and risk-off. Cathie's viewpoint, which is consistent with the opinions of renowned economists, emphasizes the revolutionary potential of Bitcoin as a rules-based monetary system. The discussion takes us back to 2015, when it appeared groundbreaking to think about Bitcoin as the basis for a monetary system. Now that Bitcoin has a market valuation of more than $800 billion, the story has completely changed. As we come to an end of this video, it is obvious that Bitcoin has a long way to go. Its potential for development and acceptance seems bright given its scarcity value and growing institutional interest. The perspectives provided by Cathie Wood present a convincing picture of how Bitcoin is changing inside the international financial system. We appreciate you coming along on this enlightening adventure. As we explore the always shifting environment of digital assets and financial innovation, stay tuned for additional conversations and observations. Though the future is yet unwritten, we may expect exciting advancements in the near future, thanks to visionaries like Cathie Wood paving the way. Until next time, keep exploring, learning, and investing wisely.